In today's video, we're going to continue our series where we're ranking all the top NHL players getting ready for the 2018-19 season. We've already covered the top goalies, the top defensemen, and the top centers. Today, I'm going to give you my list for the top 20 wingers in the NHL. And that's coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams. So if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So as I mentioned off the top here, today I'm going to give you my list for the top 20 wingers currently playing in the NHL as we approach the 2018-19 season. So as I mentioned, this is going to be the final video in this series. We've already covered the top 20 centers, goaltenders, and defensemen. If you've missed any of those videos, I'm going to have a playlist linked down below in the description where you can go back and check out the other rankings. Now again, just a reminder, I've said this every video, but this is completely subjective on my part. This is my list. If you agree or disagree, that's totally fine. I'd love to hear your comments down below in the comment section where you can tell me what you think of my list and how you'd rank yours. That's the whole point of these videos, is to spawn a discussion around who are the top players in the league. So let's jump in here and get started. Now for the number 20 spot on my list, I actually have a tie. So technically, I guess we're going to have 21 wingers on this list. Kicking things off here in the tied for number 20 spot, we have Brock Boeser of the Vancouver Canucks. Now Boeser had a tremendous rookie season. Looks like he's going to be a real stud. I was very impressed with his game, and I had to include him here on this list. Tied with him, I have Colorado Avalanche forward Mikko Rantanen. Now, Rantanen had a tremendous year last year. Obviously plays with Nate McKinnon. McKinnon had a breakout year as well. So Rantanen's got a couple years in the NHL. Looked really solid. It's certainly going to be a big member of that Avalanche team moving forward. So I've been very impressed with him as well. I thought it was only fair these two youngsters at least make this list for sure. At number 19, I've got Mark Stone of the Ottawa Senators. In my opinion, Mark Stone is very underrated. Doesn't often get a lot of credit. Last season, Mark Stone put up more than a point per game. He's certainly one of the better two-way forwards of the game, in my opinion. He's got a great stick. Often leads the league in takeaways. Been a big goal scorer. He's got 4+ seasons now, 20+ goals. Been Ottawa's best forward on many nights for sure. In my opinion, Mark Stone doesn't get enough recognition, and I do see him as being one of the top 20 wingers in the league, and I've got him ranked here at number 19. At number 18, I've got Anaheim Ducks forward Rickard Rakell. Rickard's been very impressive, certainly improved a lot over the last few years. Been leading that team in a lot of offensive categories. He's got back-to-back 30-goal seasons, looked really solid, and certainly deserves to be on this list. At number 17, I've got Jake Voracek of the Philadelphia Flyers. He put up 85 points last year. He's quite often among the leaders in assists. He's been a tremendous forward for the Flyers for a long time. This past year, putting Giroux on the line with Voracek and Couturier in the middle was absolutely dynamite. That line was phenomenal. I would imagine the Flyers are going to keep that line together going into next year, and I do expect big things from Voracek and Giroux, and Voracek's been a tremendous forward here for a long time. Next up at number 16, we've got Max Pacioretty of the Montreal Canadiens. Now, a lot of other places to put together their top 20 winger list, I've noticed Pacioretty wasn't included. Yes, he didn't have the greatest year last year, but really the whole Montreal organization and team really just had a really down season, but really if you take a look at Pacioretty's history, the guy's been absolutely tremendous. He scored 17 goals in 64 games last year, so had he played a full campaign, he definitely would have got 20, maybe closer to 25. He scored 30+ goals on 5 different occasions. The guy is an absolutely tremendous goal scorer. Certainly deserves to be on this list. I'm not going to knock him out of my top 20 here, just over one down season, and I fully suspect Pacioretty will bounce back, have a better year, assuming he stays in Montreal. Obviously, there's some uncertainty over Pacioretty's future right now, but either way, Pacioretty's playing for a contract. I fully suspect him to bounce back and get back to his normal goal-scoring ways. Next up at number 15, we've got Philip Forsberg of the Nashville Predators. Forsberg is still relatively young, 23 years old, but he's got 4 seasons now where he scored at least 26 goals. Certainly been a tremendous member of the offense for the Nashville Predators here since he's been with that franchise. I'm sure the Washington Capitals regret trading him, but at least they got their Stanley Cup last year, so it probably eases the pain a little bit. But Forsberg was certainly involved in one of the more lopsided trades in NHL history for sure, but he's certainly deserving to be on this list. At number 14, I've got Johnny Hockey, Johnny Gaudreau of the Calgary Flames. Gaudreau is certainly a big part of the Flames offense, pretty consistent with his goal scoring and assist totals. So Johnny Gaudreau certainly deserving to be on this list for sure. At number 13, I've got David Pastrnak of the Boston Bruins. You could probably make the argument that the Bergeron, Marchand, Pastrnak line was arguably the greatest line in hockey last year. Obviously, Marchand and Pastrnak on the wings for Bergeron put up some tremendous totals. I think David Pastrnak has the potential to be a pretty solid 35 to 40 goal scorer. Maybe even more. Hard to say where his ceiling is. I don't think he's quite reached it as of yet. So Pasternak's certainly one of the more younger, exciting players to watch in this league, and I expect big things from him in the future. At number 12, I've got Artemi Panarin of the Columbus Blue Jackets. During his time so far in the NHL, Panarin's proved to be a very exciting player. Obviously meshed very well with Patrick Kane in Chicago. He's been a leader for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Another winger on this list with a little bit of an uncertain future where he will end up playing going forward. I know the Blue Jackets would love to keep him. Obviously, the speculation he doesn't want to sign long term. Regardless of what happens with Panarin's future, he's a very exciting player. He's going to continue to put up a lot of great offensive totals and very deserving to be on this list. Next up at number 11, I've got Blake Wheeler of the Winnipeg Jets. Now, Blake Wheeler's put up some tremendous years since coming to Winnipeg. Obviously, he's played with a few franchises. Got his career kickstarted with the Boston Bruins. He was playing in Atlanta when they moved to Winnipeg. So certainly Wheeler is a tremendous player. Meshes very well with Mark Scheifele. Wheeler has racked up a lot of assists, often setting up Scheifele. They're a great 1-2 punch for the Winnipeg Jets. And for me, Blake Wheeler is number 11. At number 10, I've got Jamie Benn of the Dallas Stars. Now, Jamie Benn has really been a tremendous leader for the Dallas Stars, put up some great offensive totals. His career really took another offensive upswing once they brought in Tyler Seguin from the Boston Bruins in that trade a number of years ago. Seguin and Benn have been a tremendous 1-2 punch as well, played very well together, and I think they can certainly take a lot of credit for each other's success. Next up at number 9, I've got Vladimir Tarasenko of the St. Louis Blues. Now, I've seen a lot of different lists where Tarasenko's been higher and lower, more often lower than this. But for me, Tarasenko, and if you look at the last 3 years amongst all these wingers, he got the second most number of goals. He is pretty solid. He's yet to kind of reach his full ceiling. I think he's got another level to reach here. We'll see what he can accomplish in St. Louis. He's still young enough that he can still find another level here to his game. At number 8, I've got Patrick Laine of the Winnipeg Jets. Obviously, Laine was taken number 2 overall behind Austin Matthews. He's got a tremendous release. He's averaging 40 goals per year in his 2 years in the NHL. Looking absolutely phenomenal, and I do expect big things to come. He's going to be a contender for the Rocket Richard Trophy for a long time. At number 7, we got Claude Giroux. Now, it's kind of weird for me having Giroux on this list because he was a center for the bulk of his career, but last year played the wing and really converted quite nicely, putting up 102 points last year. Giroux's had a tremendous career. Obviously, he had a couple years and kind of looked like his career was in decline, but he kind of found another level, hit some career highs last year. Obviously, going on the wing, playing with Couturier and Voracek was great for him. So we'll see if he can continue that. But Claude Giroux, based on last year's performance and based on his past career performance as well, certainly deserves to be high up on this list for sure. At number 7, we've got Phil the Thrill, Phil Kessel here of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Obviously, Phil Kessel's had a tremendously consistent career. Now got a couple Stanley Cups under his belt with the Penguins. Hit career highs last year at age 30, 92 points. Absolutely phenomenal. It blew me away to see Kessel ranked lower on some lists, and I even seen some lists where he didn't even make the top 20. I absolutely could not believe that. Phil Kessel's been one of the most consistent goal scorers and point producers in the last decade. I mean, he's been, the last 10 years, you look at his statistics, he's very, very consistent. Usually gets you 30-plus goals. You know, was hovering around 70, 80 points quite often. Obviously, last year hit career highs with 92, but Phil the Thrill certainly deserves to be high up on this list, in my opinion. Next up at number 5, I've got Taylor Hall of the New Jersey Devils, and I've seen some lists where they've had him ranked higher, and I have a lot of respect for what Hall accomplished last year. Wins the Hart Trophy, put the Devils on his back, obviously led them to the playoffs, was a tremendous resurgence, not only for the team, but for him as well. If you look at the point totals that he jumped from one year to the next, absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, there were some times when he was with the Oilers earlier in his career where he did have more points than he did his first season with the Devils in the 16-17 season. But still, Taylor Hall took tremendous steps last year. We'll see if he can continue that. And the only reason I don't have Hall ranked higher like some other people is that I need to see more before I rank him ahead of some of these other great wingers. Hall certainly had a tremendous year, but we'll see if he can continue that moving forward. Next up, we have Brad Marchand of the Boston Bruins. Now, Marchand sometimes is one of the more hated players in the league at times, obviously because of his antics, but you can't deny the fact that he's a tremendously gifted offensive player. He's had numerous 30-goal seasons. That line with Pastrnak, Bergeron, and Marchand, arguably the best line in the league. Marchand sometimes doesn't get enough credit for his offensive abilities because of some of the other things he does on the ice, which is part of, for me as a fan, why it kind of drives me crazy a little bit at times, because he's so talented that I'd like to see him kind of stick to where his talents are instead of some of the other things that get him in trouble. But for me, Brad Marchand is definitely one of the top 5 wingers of this league. At number 3, I've got Patrick Kane of the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, if you take a look at the last 3 years, Patrick Kane is the highest scoring winger amongst all the guys we're discussing here today. Yes, his season last year was down a little bit. Chicago didn't have a great season, but still, Patrick Kane is one of the best players of his generation. He's going to be a Hall of Famer when he retires. Numerous Stanley Cups, a lot of success, as a team and as an individual. Patrick Kane still has a lot of talent and can razzle-dazzle with the best of them here in the NHL. I do expect the Chicago Blackhawks to bounce back a little bit. I think Patrick Kane was impacted last year a little bit by not having Artemi Panarin. Panarin still did quite well with Columbus, so I think Kane was affected a little bit more between the two. But still, you got to have Patrick Kane near the top of this list. He's had a tremendous career and has yet to decline enough to fall further down this list. And number 2, I've got Nikita Kucherov of the Tampa Bay Lightning, who has been the second highest scoring winger over the past 3 years. Put up some absolute tremendous totals. Another guy who's part of a dynamic duo with him and Stamkos. Obviously, Stamkos has become more of the setup guy, Kucherov the finisher. Stamkos was more of the goal scorer earlier in his career, but still they're both putting up a lot of tremendous point totals for sure. And I got Kucherov here at number 2. Number 1 for me is Alex Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals. Now for me, I have him at number 1 because he's such a goal-scoring machine. That's ideally what you want out of your wingers, is some strong goal scoring. And really, he does it better than just about anybody in the history of this league. In the last 3 years, he scored 20 more goals than the next closest one amongst all these wingers here. So he certainly knows how to light the lamp, and he knows how to do it in grand style. He's won the Rocket Richard Trophy numerous times. He's going to still be in contention for that, really, for the next while yet. He's not slowing down. So obviously for me, Ovechkin is still the number 1 winger in the NHL, in my opinion. So that's my list of the top 20. I'd love to hear your comments down below. Like I said earlier at the beginning of this video, feel free to agree, disagree. We can have a respectful conversation down below in the comments and debate who should be where on this list. Let me know who would be on your list down below in the comments, and we can continue the conversation. If you're new to the channel here, I hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.